Hi everyone! Today we're going to be looking at the new book that we're going to be reading, and it is called Shadow of the Dragon by Sherry Garland. This is a great book and I'm really excited that we're going to be starting with it. So to take a look at it, this is what the cover looks like. And the story is about the main character, whose name is Danny Vo, and he is in a constant battle because his homeland is Vietnam, and he constantly feels tied to the traditions and things from his country, but now he's living in America and he wants to assimilate and he wants to fit in with the American people, so he's constantly having this inner battle. And on top of that, he has a cousin named Sang Lee who lived over in Vietnam, and he ends up emigrating to America. And he goes to the same school as Danny, and this poses a really big burden for Danny because his cousin doesn't speak any English. And as his cousin is trying to learn about the country and learn about the new school and learn how to fit in as well, he ends up becoming friends with people who really aren't the right crowd. Um, Also, Danny has a crush on this girl named Tiffany Marie, and she finally shows interest in him. She finally tells him that she likes him and she wants to date him. But Tiffany's brother really doesn't like Danny at all, and he really shows it. And we're going to find out what he does when we read. So I don't want to give too much away. I don't want to spoil it for you. But the question for Danny becomes, well, what does he do? How does he handle this? So throughout the book, there's going to be some key vocabulary that I want you to keep in mind. The first word is Vietnam, the country. Second word is communist. Third word is harass. Then sullen, gang, and prejudice. So to give you a little bit of background, this is not anywhere near enough to tell you all about the aspects of Vietnam, but a little snippet is it's the easternmost country of the Indochina Peninsula in Southeast Asia. So this is a map of Vietnam. Everything here in this golden color is the country. There's 92 million people living there, but that was as of 2013, so I'm sure that there's more people now. The capital city of Vietnam is Hanoi, which is right here, which has the little red star, and it's the second largest city in Vietnam. And in Vietnamese culture, they actually worship a variety of symbols. One of them is the dragon, which we will find out the significance of that as we read. The second symbol is the lac, which is a bird, and then a turtle and a horse. So that's pretty interesting. And then a little bit about their food. So their food is generally either spicy, sour, bitter, salty, or sweet. So they kind of tend to stick within those varieties. And their food is a blend of Chinese and Thai styles. This right here is a video on communism. I'm not going to play it for you right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on the Schoology website underneath where you found this flipped video. And after you finish listening to my video, I would like for you to go and watch this video. The next word is harass. The dictionary definition is to intimidate or act aggressively towards somebody. So when you're harassing somebody, it could be two ways. One, it could be physical. So like you see in the picture where this boy right here is physically attacking the boy underneath. Or it could be verbal. So it could be name calling, it could be bullying, it could be picking on somebody. Anything like that can be considered harassment. But the verb is to harass. Sullen, to be in a bad mood or gloomy. So all of you are very familiar with Grumpy Cat. So when you think of the word sullen, just think of him and his face, because as you can see, he is not in any way, shape, or form happy. So to be sullen is to be in a bad mood. A gang. An organized group of people who commit crimes or are violent. So that's pretty self-explanatory. It's a group of people. Usually they share a common cause, so it's either a belief or an ideal that they find worth fighting for, and they band together, but they don't do it in a nice way. They're very, very, very violent. So they usually terrorize and use fear tactics to accomplish their goals. So now I want to think of the last word, which is, what is prejudice? According to the dictionary, it's a preconceived opinion that is not based on reason or actual experience. So an example sentence is English prejudice against foreigners. It's not really a sentence, but. So I want you to think about what this means. How do you interpret this definition right here? So I'm going to give you a minute to think. Okay, so now that I've given you a minute to think, I'm going to give you some ideas about how you could think about this definition. Prejudice is directed at many different aspects. So one aspect of a person is how they look. So I give you the example of Dumbo. If you've seen the Disney movie Dumbo, and just to give you a heads up, there's a lot of Disney references in this PowerPoint, so I hope you're up to date on your Disney. Dumbo was an elephant who had extraordinarily large ears. So there's a quote, those what? Oh, ears, these, aren't they funny? And they would make fun of him and they would laugh at him. So that is a form of prejudice. They're making fun of the way that he looks. What somebody wears. So people make comments or they make fun of if, a person doesn't have the latest styles, the newest brand of Nikes, or they're judging them by what they wear, what they put on themselves. And that's prejudice. How much money someone makes or where they live. So if you've seen Aladdin, he is a very poor man and he lives in the streets and he says, I'm a street rat, remember? And there's a law. She's got to marry a prince. She deserves a prince and I'm a fool. So he wants to marry the princess, but he can't because he's poor. But besides that, speaking upon prejudice, if people were making fun of Aladdin because he was poor and calling him by this name, a street rat, that's a form of prejudice because they're judging him based upon how much money he makes. Race or the color of someone's skin. This is from the movie Tarzan. He's a little baby and he was abandoned and these gorillas found him and took him in. But obviously he's a human and he's not a gorilla and he was outcasted by many of the other gorillas and they would say he'll never be like us, he'll never look like us, and that's a form of prejudice, outcasting somebody because they don't look the same as you. Someone's lifestyle. So this is from the movie Pocahontas. She was a Native American and he was an Englishman who came overseas when the Europeans conquered North America, and he was learning about her culture, but he didn't agree with it, and he would try to get her to live his way. And judging somebody based upon how they live, that's a form of prejudice as well. Obviously, this one is pretty obvious. Someone's appearance. So this is from The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and he says he's the ugliest face in all of Paris. But everybody else would tell him that as well. They would make fun of him. They would throw things at him just because he was disfigured and disformed. They would really terrorize him and harass him. So one of our vocab words. So someone's judging somebody based upon their appearance is a form of prejudice as well. Someone's gender. This is from the movie Mulan. She wanted to fight in the war, and at that time they did not allow women in the army. So she pretended to be a man in order to get into the army. But judging somebody and their ability based upon their gender is a form of prejudice. Someone's age. I'm an ugly old creep, so this is old woman. Judging somebody because of their age and their ability based upon their age. Oh, you can't do that. Or, oh, you're so old. What makes you think you can do that? Things like that. Those are forms of prejudice. And lastly, somebody's ability. So this says if you don't think, you shouldn't talk. Basically, judging somebody based upon what you think they can do and not actually what they demonstrate that they can do is a form of prejudice. So now you're going to find when you go back on Schoology that there's going to be a Google form, and what I would like for you to do is, based upon what you have seen in this flipped video, I want you to think of your own definition. I say a class definition because we're when you come back tomorrow, we're going to see everybody's ideas based upon the Google form. So I would like for you to fill out the Google form and submit it. Additionally, there's going to be a document. It looks like this. It's called the Anticipation Guide. And I would like for you to download it. And I would like for you to print it. And I would like for you to fill out this first column only. Okay, let me repeat that. This first column only. It says before reading. Okay. So you're going to answer these questions based upon your culture and how you and your family feels about these statements. So you're going to read each of these. The first one says you should date people outside of your own culture. So do you believe, and does your family believe, that you should date somebody outside of what your culture is? So for example, if I'm from Latin America or Central America and I'm Spanish, does my family believe, or do I believe, that I should date somebody from India or China or Europe? Is that okay, or is it frowned upon? And does your family believe that you should date another Spanish person? So you're going to write in here, do you agree? Yes, I think that I should date outside of my own culture because... Or do you disagree? No, I don't think that I should date people outside of my culture because. Okay, so you're going to fill in 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have any questions about the assignments, please feel free to email me. So again, you're going to do two things. You're going to go on the Schoology website. Well, three things actually. You're going to go on the Schoology website. You're going to watch the video on communism that I have posted. Second, you're going to submit the Google form document, which asks for your own definition of prejudice. And this is the third thing. You're going to fill out the before reading column on the Anticipation Guide provided online. Okay? So I really look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Good luck with your homework. Again, email me with any questions that you have.